Good morning, everyone, and happy Friday. Welcome to the show.
Welcome. Happy Friday.
The Celtics beat down the Heat. Our favorite golfer pulls a tin cup moment. And we got some gambling history here to talk about today. Hope everybody's having a good Friday. I am your host, Tyson, TRL Business Time. We are heading into the weekend with my good friend, Mr. Jeffrey, off of the schneid, who's got all of his Florida State gear out today for some stupid reason, which I will never know. But Jeffrey, how are we doing anyway?
You know, I'm doing okay, Tyson. I'm doing okay. It's been an interesting week. So, trying to get this house taken care of, and they went to go do the appraisal on the house, and the guy who we're trying to buy the house from was trying to do an insurance claim on the roof, so he's got a tarp on the roof. And so they're basically like, listen, we can't give you a correct appraisal on the house because we don't know what's going on with the roof. The roof is fine. The roof's going to be replaced like day one,
Which is interesting because you told me the guy, after you guys closed, like after he accepted the offer, he then tried to put in an insurance claim on his insurance, which we both know he had no intentions of ever fixing that roof. So he was just trying to get another $10,000, $15,000 check and run away.
So basically the way this has worked is now the bank has said, listen, we need a licensed roofer to come out and look at the roof and let us know that it's in solid, stable condition, and that, like, if you move in, there's not a gaping hole in it, basically. I'm like, okay, no problem. I'll get somebody right out there. Well, and first, what we tried to do is we tried to go to the guy who owned the house, who tried to do the insurance claim, and say, hey, do you have the paperwork that you filed through the insurance? Yada, yada, yada. Oh, I don't have the paperwork. You got to do it yourself. Okay. Cool.
Seems like a great guy.
So, long story short, I reach out to one of our mutual friends, Sonny Pablo. Appreciate you. Love you. Thank you so much. He refers me to a gentleman. This gentleman, I called on Monday to get this taken care of. I'm sorry, Monday night. So Tuesday was the first day we were supposed to do something. Tuesday didn't happen. My friend, I'll be out there tomorrow, Wednesday. So Wednesday goes by. Pretty bad weather. Can't really blame him. Pretty bad weather.
Not in the morning.
Thursday yesterday, I decided to go over. Me and Sonny are like, you know what? We're gonna call him. We're gonna wait for him. We're gonna be at the house. So we're at the house for about 2 hours. Guy finally shows up. Does not show up in a truck. Shows up in a Honda.
No ladder.
Says, oh, okay. No ladder. Says, oh, okay. I can see the roof now. Yeah, I need a ladder.
As if he thought he was going to be able to scale the side of the wall to be able to inspect.
So this morning, I woke up at 7:15 this morning and went and dropped the ladder off at the house that we're trying to buy and said, my friend, there's no excuse anymore. I have a ladder for you. Please, for the love of God, I'm paying you $350 just to go look at the roof and take the tarp off. That's all I'm asking. Please. So,
Jeffrey,
as we're doing this, my realtor is calling me to yell at me for not having this done already, and that's why I was looking at my phone when we first came on here. So I do apologize.
It seems to me like you're dealing with some unsavory people here. I don't know how much I trust the roofer that's going to come out and give you an estimate on what's happening with said roof, who doesn't show up with a ladder to look at said roof. I surely hope that
no bumper on a Honda.
I surely hope that this person is licensed and bonded, because
they are licensed. He is licensed. He is a licensed professional roofer. They have their own company, blah, blah, blah. It's fine, right?
I'm just saying, from the bank's perspective, I would hate for you to go through all this and be like, who is Joe Smith of Bob's Roofing?
Gustavo. But
I wasn't gonna go down that route, but yes,
that's his name. His name is Gustavo. But that was the first thing. Listen, we gotta make sure this is all above board, blah blah blah. But my thing is like, I could have had this done on Tuesday, if I had called somebody else.
Yeah.
Instead, I'm sitting here on Friday, and I'm supposed to close on the 5th.
Well, the good news is they got other paperwork that they can get all that stuff done before it comes down to it. It is what it is.
It's fine.
It's just another joy of life, isn't it? Just another loophole that you get to jump through, another dance step that you got to learn. Just wonderful joys of life.
I will say this, and I've learned this through the process, is that you think that people who are in other fields are very knowledgeable and very good at what they do because they're in that field. They've been in that field for a long time. I'm beginning to learn that that is not the case.
You know what I've learned? The biggest thing is in Florida, it's a freaking free-for-all. It is a free-for-all, dude. It is an absolute free-for-all. You never know. You never know. Guy came out and did my service on my generator. I'm not going to say it because he actually is a really good electrician. Done a lot of work at the house for her. And he comes out and does the entire service like for my generator before hurricane season, make sure everything's going. Now, I left the error code up there that's saying that the battery terminals need to be removed, need to be cleaned and resecured. I could have done it, but I figured he's coming out to do the service. So, lo and behold, the service is done. I go out there, and the amber light's still on there. The warning is still there. So I text him. I'm like, hey, bro, like, did you not do is that not part of the service? He goes, I didn't see the error. My man, you literally have to look at the screen to put it into service mode, and it says right there, battery terminals need, like, it's just, everything's half-assed, bro. I mean, we had the gutters replaced over here when we had the 5 leaks in our roof, our 5-year-old home that has holes all over, that leaked all over, and the gutters are on a slant. It's just like, you know, it's the work quality, it's just shit down here. You're literally just rolling the dice.
I do want to give a shout out to my buddy Ricky Lacey, who just passed the real estate exam yesterday, and is now a licensed realtor, ready to do some work. So shout out to you, Ricky. Sky's the limit, baby. Go get it. You got this.
Talked to him yesterday about getting with Jeff, our buddy Jeff, Big Fish Jeff.
Yeah.
Yep. So hopefully that works out. Little T-bone kickback.
The T-bone kickback, and we're all here for that.
Well, you know, I've let it go long enough, but here we are on a Friday. We're ready to talk about sports. I told you that we were going to be talking about the Boston Celtics winning Game 5, and lo and behold, here we are. The Celtics came out. They absolutely dominated from start to finish. They looked just completely superior to the Miami Heat again. It's one of those things where, you know, we can talk about whether Miami just wants to close at home, whether it's just a lackluster poor performance because they know that they have to win 3. But as I said, now all of the pressure is completely on the Miami Heat. The Boston Celtics, why can I not say Celtics today? The Boston Celtics have removed the weight off of their Jesus Christ. Shoulders.
You have your coffee today?
I don't know, dude. I'm a mess.
You take your Metamucil?
I haven't been. I think that's what's wrong. You know, I have a sleep.
Stay regular, Tyson.
I have a sleep apnea machine now.
What?
Yeah, we can.
You look like Darth Vader when you sleep,
dude. It's oh my god, it's so annoying. But anyway, I'm gonna blame it on that.
Bianca think of that?
I don't know. I'm asleep by the time she gets home anyway. But anyway, as I was saying, they got the weight lifted off to their shoulders. They're not getting swept. They've made it respectable at minimum that they picked up the last 2 games. The pressure goes all the way back to Miami now, 100% on the Miami Heat. The Boston Celtics have come out. They've hit the 3-pointers that they didn't hit throughout the entire first 5 games. And they look completely unstoppable. Now, we've talked about this before. We talked about this with Justin. Well, who's stopping his Miami Heat? I will say at this freight train, who's stopping the Boston Celtics? Because right now, they are absolutely on fire and they are humming. They are hitting everything from 3-point land. If they continue this up, it's going to be Celtics in 7. I'm still sticking with it. I know that you're probably going to take Timothy, who also guaranteed that the Miami Heat will win Game 6 in Miami. Guaranteed it. What were your thoughts on the game, Jeffrey?
It sucked, dude. Game sucked, bro. I played golf with Ian yesterday. We only got 9 holes and it dumped on us, and I was like, all right, let's go watch basketball.
When you said that you guys were playing golf, I'm like, do these guys not look at the weather?
Well, you know how Florida is, dude. It's
I
like,
do.
Oh, it says
but I look at the radar.
It's like, oh, it's just going to be cloudy. And then it's like, we get to the golf course. It's like, oh, it's going to skate by us. Everything's going to stay south. Don't worry about it, guys. You guys should be good. And we get on the golf course, right? And the first hole, we walk up, you know, we're a 2-ball. And the guy goes, oh, you got 2 with you as well. I'm like, okay.
Oh, that's...
So the 2 roll up.
2 ladies?
It is... No. Even worse. 2 guys from Jersey. One guy
Oh
looked
my
like
god.
uh, is it Jay or Silent Bob? Who's the one with the long hair and like the coat? You
Silent
know what I'm talking
Bob.
about? Silent Bob. No, that's Jay, right?
They both had long hair.
No, but Kevin Smith is like the bigger, fatter one.
Yeah, that's Silent
Yeah,
Bob.
that's Silent Bob. Yeah. So Jay, one looks like Jay, the other one, I don't know what he was, but he's a bigger dude, and he pulls up, and they're like, "All right, guys, well, yeah, it's a pleasure to meet you. Listen, don't judge us too much. I've only played a few times, and he's never played." So me and Ian are like, "Oh, great."
Check, please.
So we tee off the first hole. Ian is already, you know how he gets, dude. He's in it, dude. He's in it. He's in his head. He's cursing at everybody. He's so mad. God hates us, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And so we get to the second hole, and at this point, we're about 40 minutes into the round. And me and Ian, we're 30 yards from the green, about to chip up and both make par. And the guy who had never played golf before is literally on his seventh shot, hitting from the woods over on the other side of the green, walking back. And I just turn to the guy and go, "Hey, look, man." I go, "There's a 2-ball behind us right now. We're going to go ahead and go. You guys enjoy your round. We don't want you to feel rushed by playing with us. Please enjoy your time. Enjoy your day out here. You guys paid for it." That was it. Ian is like, these, like, there's a politicalness that we can go about it. Anyway, the preface that was saying, we get to the bar. I'm like, listen, we're going to load up on Miami here. Let's fire away at the Heat. We're taking the Heat first half spread, first half money line, game spread. I almost took them live, but the number wasn't good enough for me.
You're welcome.
As well too. Yeah. Stupid. Like they're down by 18, and you're giving me a plus 750 in-game money line, like. Terrible.
Well,
Anyway.
it's also the NBA, which we all know there's been multiple leads at 20 point, and guess what? 4 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, it's a 6-point game.
Yeah. Well, we went to our favorite spot, had some, Philly cheeseburger or Philly steak sliders, beautiful grilled wings, nice Cajun fries. It was a great time. But yeah,
it's funny. I did I didn't see. Let me just check something real quick here.
We didn't need any other Boston fans there, sir. There were enough.
I don't consider myself a Boston fan, if that's what you're referring to.
You are married into Boston.
So
Therefore you're a fan. It's like if you
I was excluded from the festivities because I would have been supporting Boston?
No, bro. The game started at 8:30. What time did you go to sleep last night?
Midnight.
Oh, wow. It was a late night for you. Okay.
I stayed up for the game.
Well, good for you.
Just keep me in mind.
Yeah, okay.
Somewhere down the road, you might get lonely.
Miami played terrible, but I'll say this: like the second chance points, obviously, definitely swung in Boston's favor, significantly. But my biggest thing for the Heat was that they just turned the ball over without anybody doing anything. They're dribbling the ball off their foot. They're throwing the ball out of bounds. They're just, it was the most careless display of basketball that I might have seen this postseason, except for if you watch the last 2 minutes of blowout games for any NBA game ever, which is always, you see them empty the bench and you say, okay, grab onto our shorts here, boys. Here we go. It's going to be the ugliest two minutes of basketball you've ever seen in your life.
Everybody that touches it's dying to shoot.
Oh, dude, you got Malik Beasley and Max Christie's son or Doug Christie's son, to go along with Scottie Pippen Jr. out there. It's bad. It's bad. It's tough to watch it. It's tough to stick up for the game of basketball when people are frying you about it in your ear, and that's the product that's on the television at the time.
Switching to the WNBA.
Yeah, well, that's not been great either lately.
When has it ever been great?
I will say this. Listen, obviously, we said Boston has a puncher's chance. Jason Tatum was Mr. Everything. Jaylen Brown knocked down big threes.
Marcus Smart.
We'll see what the Brogdon injury does. To me, the Brogdon injury, I think, might even, I don't want to say help Boston, but I don't know how much Brogdon has been really of value in this series. And so
he's shown up. He's definitely shown up.
Well, look at Derek White showing up last night too, right? Derek White was just absolutely unconscious. He goes off for 24 points. If you look at the starters for Boston, right? Tatum plus 19, Horford plus 10, Smart plus 20, White plus 18, Brown plus 16. They just, and then you go Robert Williams plus 10 as well too. They dominated. They were absolutely the better team from start to finish. Miami is playing a dangerous game here. By the way, we almost got the backdoor cover. I don't know if you saw that. Line was 8.5.
Yeah, it got to 10. Game. Yeah, it's all good.
It gets to 10, and everybody knows. At that point, we've all been talking. Everybody knows that the line's 8.5, and there's like a low roar starting to build. In the building to see if this backdoor cover is going to come in. And then I don't know who the kid was. Who was a kid who just hit a three? Hauser hits a three from 35 feet away. And it's just the most deflated. That's when I was like, check, please. Get me out of here right now. This is absolutely terrible.
Well, I think that we finally have seen the last couple games here what we expected out of the Boston Celtics throughout the series. On paper, they are a better team. They have a deeper team. They have the pieces to be able to take anybody to the final edge of the game. We just didn't see it the first 3 games. Now we've seen it the last 2 games. We've seen what the Boston team can do and what it's capable of doing. The question is just whether we see it again. And I tell you, again, going to Game 6, Miami better win this game. Because if they don't, and they go back to Game 7 in the Garden, c'est la vie. And I know that you say that, or Miami shows up in the games when they weren't supposed to win and they're not supposed to win. Well, guess what, Jeffrey? They're supposed to win Game 6.
Are they favored?
They're supposed to win Game 6. I don't think
favored?
I don't think it matters if they're favored or not.
What's the line? Are they favored?
They are not.
Bet they're not.
They are not.
I bet they're 3.5 point dogs.
3. They're 3-point dogs. But again, that's just the Vegas line. There's also an underwritten expectation of who is supposed to win these certain games. Just like we thought Boston would win last night. Whether they covered by 8.5, that was a whole different story when you started to get into that. But now that we're moving back to Miami again, Miami is going to be expected to win this game. Because when they were up 3-0, nobody ever expected them to not win the series. It's never been done before. So if they don't win in Miami, then the expectations might go back your way to Game 7 because there's no way in hell they're going to be favored to win Game 7 in the Garden.
And also, like, Jimmy Butler putting a stamp on it like that and saying,
we will win Game 6.
We will win. The media is just going to take that and run with it and say, oh, Jimmy Butler with a guarantee, and that's going to be the entire narrative, the entire everything. So, I love, listen, if anybody's going to do it, it's going to be Michael Jordan's son, right?
Jimmy Jordan.
And make statements like that that we'll co-sign to. But you got to back it up, too. And he didn't really back it up very much last night. He looked like he was in jail most of the night trying to get through it.
It looks like, again, that, do people really want to celebrate at home? Like, and as far as, like, sports teams and everybody, the players don't care. I guess maybe I'm not going to say that. I would say the majority of players just want to win. They don't care if it's on their away court or their home court. Would they rather win from their home court? Sure. But sometimes it feels a little bit sweeter to beat somebody on their turf. And so
it is crazy how much deeper Boston is.
Boston's so deep.
Like, when you started watching these guys coming off the bench, and you got Highsmith, right? Highsmith played 36 minutes last night. Like, who is that? Who is that kid? I don't know, and they're outmanned right now. And
who are you talking about? Highsmith.
Yeah. What's his name? Hold on. Haywood Highsmith.
What?
Haywood Highsmith. Yeah. On the season, averaged 4.4 points, 3.5 rebounds.
Haywood Highsmith.
Haywood Highsmith.
I don't even see a Highsmith on the stat line for Boston.
I'm talking about for the Heat.
Okay, well, you said Boston, you said how deep they are, and then you said, who is this Highsmith? So I'm like, what are you talking about?
The other way, the Heat have no depth whatsoever, right? It's like these guys coming off the bench. Highsmith, I mean, Duncan Robinson played out of his mind. He needs to get a little bit more burn, in my opinion. Kyle Lowry is terrible, and they don't really have a backup point guard.
Kyle Lowry's been showing up over this series. I wouldn't say that he's absolutely terrible. He might have had a bad game with only 5 points as a distributor, but I mean,
he almost had as many turnovers as points. So
did everybody, though. There was a lot of turnovers. I mean, Adebayo had 6 turnovers by himself. We're not talking about that.
Yeah, the problem is you can't just dump the ball down to him down low. He's constantly looking to get it out to somebody because.
But that's what their success was these first three games, which is really weird. You know, we had Al Horford, we had Williams, everybody was trying to guard Bam, and game 4, Bam went absolutely nuts. They went to the same well again. Boston made the adjustments, and boom, here we go. It's going to be very, very interesting to see what happens in Game 6. It's going to be a great, great game. I'm calling it again. Celtics in 7.
Dare I say a pivotal Game 6? Yes, I do think it will be it'll be an interesting game. Say I don't like Paul Pierce? Have I said that before? I don't like Paul Pierce.
You did say that. I watched a clip of Paul Pierce, and I can't remember. Paul Pierce was on the NBA on TNT at one point, I believe, and I think he was talking about Dwayne Wade. And he was talking about how Dwayne Wade wasn't that good of a player. And I think maybe it was Kenny Smith or somebody. And he goes, hold up right there.
It was on ESPN. It was Jalen Rose.
Jalen Rose. Yeah, Jalen Rose. He's like, 3 offensive players of the year to your none. 3 championships to your none. It was, or to your 1. I'm sorry. Yeah, that was awesome. That needs to happen a little bit more in life. I think people need to get checked. I also saw another argument though. Before we move on out of NBA, and I can't for the life of me, I think he's on Fox. He looks like an Arab guy, but he's talking.
Jason McIntyre.
He just dogs on Jordan all the time versus LeBron about how LeBron's so much better than Jordan.
Was he on Colin Cowherd's show?
I don't think so. I should know. But anyway, I've been seeing a lot of his clips, and once I figure it out, maybe Jeremy, if he could find that. I can't remember.
Good to see you today, Jason.
Yeah, good to have Jeremy in there. Fact checking us as always. But yeah, he was bringing up a lot of points. As far as the Jordan LeBron debate, and then I happened to see another one that just ranked them by the years, right? And of course, the years that Jordan wasn't in the league, those all went to LeBron, and it was closer than you thought as far as like who had the better year in year 1 versus year 20, and obviously LeBron was better than Jordan. His early years, Jordan kind of dominated that middle section, and then LeBron still is winning. But the thing is, I think they gave him year 19, so it would have been 2022 when Jordan was on the Wizards. They gave him that year as well. It was kind of interesting to see the breakdown of that. If we can find that footage, I'll try to bring it up here. But
I'm so sick of the debate. I'm so sick of it.
I think it's hilarious, dude. There's so many grown men that were literally sacrificed their children in order to make their point.
So we get done. It's pouring rain yesterday. We're getting off the golf course, and there was a group of 4 teenage kids probably that were playing in front of us.
Where'd you play?
We played at Magnolia.
Good.
So it's only 14 holes anyway that's open right now, but we only played 9. But we get done, we go in, me and Ian get out of the car. The kids are playing heads up, right? Where you have a little thing, everybody, and so it's like animals, right? So they're going through yada, and we walk by, and as we're walking by, it was like the most perfect timing where the kid goes LeBron James, and the other kid goes GOAT, and he goes that's it, and Ian stopped in his tracks and threw his head back and just hit him with "Are you kidding me?"
Why can't that's when you gotta break out your phone, bro. You have to video that.
Chill, bro. I'm like, they're 13, dog. Just walk away. It's okay.
Wow. You gotta whip out the video. That's content right there. I mean, that is
pretty
just
good.
Great content. I could only imagine how that went.
It was pretty good.
Well, moving on, our PGA Cinderella story, Michael Block got an invitation to, I do believe it's to Charles Schwab this week. And we were all excited for Mr. Block, and we were all rooting for Mr. Block. Mr. Block went out and donked an 81. I do believe he's in dead last place.
Dead last.
It's interesting, though, because he come out with some comments about how if he hit the ball as far as Rory McIlroy, that he would be one of the top players in the world. Has Michael Block's head gotten a little too big over these past few weeks?
The short answer is yes. The long answer is that it's much tougher to keep your composure and be in these moments and be thrust into a spotlight when you're not media ready, when you haven't been trained. When you're getting text messages from Michael Jordan himself saying congratulations after the PGA, and you wear Jordans everywhere you go, and that guy's texting you. I don't know. There's a lot that's going into it in this past week for him, but the comments are very off base, right? Like, you can't say, "Oh, if I hit the ball as far as Rory, I'd be a world-class player." Okay, well, if my aunt had balls, she'd be my uncle. You know what I mean? Like,
not necessarily.
Maybe not today's day and age.
Not necessarily.
But yeah, but it's semantics, right? And also, like, you're not the best short game player in the world. I mean, you putted pretty well for a tournament. You have no statistical anything to back it up. But when you start talking about how you got Ryder Cup points now and this and this and this, yeah, I think you jumped the shark a little bit on that. So it's tough when Cinderella's slipper, and strikes midnight and that's it and it's over. But you make little comments nowadays, and we're gonna hold you accountable to them and roast you on them.
As Al Pacino said in the Devil's Advocate, vanity is definitely my favorite sin. And, when you do get all of the spotlight, Justice, I see that you just got back into the stream. So we're going to circle right back to you in just a second, buddy. We're going to clip that for you. When you do get in that spotlight, right, and you start getting all of this stuff, like it, I'm not saying that it shows who you really are, because I don't think that that's who he really is. And I think I know what he was meaning to say by this kind of stuff. However, you have every tool in the world. You're a PGA professional. You literally hit balls for a living. You teach for a living. You have plenty of time to do whatever it is that you need to do to be able to elevate your game. You had one of the best weeks of your life, possibly, the 10 Cup, relatively close to something of that nature. Head golf pro from West Texas goes out and wins the U.S. Open type crap. You didn't win, but yet you had everybody rooting for you. And throughout your whole tournament, you were very humble. You showed the emotions of a normal player, of a normal person. We're all chanting "one of us." We're all riding your coattails. And then you come out and say, "Well, if I could hit it this far, I'd be one of the top players in the world." Bro, and as far as the media training, no, I'm not even buying it. I because it's just, there's humble brags and then there's just stupid stuff to say. And I don't know what the question was, and maybe if we knew the question to that, maybe that would give us a little bit more insight. But we all know with today's media, we don't get that. We just get the part what he said that was very controversial. But you also had Rory McIlroy, who is the top 2, top 3 golfer in the world. Amazing career that you played with, that was on your side, supporting you throughout your entire endeavor on Sunday, cheering you along. Which, in case you didn't notice, Mr. Block, golfers don't cheer other golfers along, especially when they're getting beat by said golfer. All right, that's just like something. Hey,
I hope my friends on the golf course.
I hope, just like when we're putting, I'm like, get long, get legs, get out of there.
Get legs.
And, this guy's cheering you along, and what do? Say, well, if I could hit as far as you, I'd be better than you.
Yeah, it's a tough one. Tough look.
Come on, Mr. Block. Reality check. Let's get back to reality, which you're 81 and you're, as Jeremy just said, DFL, dead last in the tournament will show. Come on, man. Let's get back to reality. Let's get us all back on your bandwagon here, and let's get back to playing some golf. So real quick, Justice, I know Miami in 6. I don't buy it. It's Celtics in 7, baby. Your time is gone. Your time,
Justice.
Your time has done. Your time is up.
I'm with it, bro.
You had your shot and you blew it.
Michael Jordan's son put his stamp on this and guaranteed a win in Game 6 back home. So, I think Tyler Hero might come back. You might get some little bit more outside shooting, another ball handler in there as well too, just so we can stop watching Kyle Lowry dribble it off of his freaking leg over and over and over again.
But we also said about that, what's the team synergy going to be like with him coming back? I don't know.
I mean, it can only get better when. I don't know.
Speaking of golf, we happen to see a few golf celebrities making their rounds throughout these playoffs, throughout the Miami Heat and the Florida Panthers, which is a resident of Jupiter, Mr. Brooks Koepka. I don't know if We happened to see him courtside at the Miami game, but more importantly, we saw him in the suites
Ooh.
at the Florida Panther game.
Ripper Magoos. My man was gone.
It appeared
You know?
that Mr. Koepka was having a great time at that game. He was locked in on the action. He didn't blink. He was there He was there for the action.
Locked jaw. Didn't blink. Just clapped the whole time. Whatever, dude.
He clapped for like 2 minutes straight.
Just without stopping. Yeah. Yeah, no, it was good. Listen, you're a grown man. Do whatever you want to do. I don't care. I don't think he gets drug tested by Liv, so who cares? Have fun. Enjoy yourself, bro.
Is he going to get
one of these lives? Live it to the fullest.
Is he going to get popped before the next major?
I doubt it. What is you got the U.S. Open coming up in L.A. Right?
Hey,
so,
Brooke, step. I mean, thanks for arriving at the U.S. Open, Brooke. Step in my office real quick, will you?
But they're not on the tour. So and the way I understand it is that it's only those guidelines only matter for tour players, correct?
I would think that the majors are actually considered independent events. So I think it would be up to those venues. I don't know. Poor guy.
Whatever, dude. Let him take steroids. Who cares? You know.
I've always said that. I've said that from back in the baseball days. Anything. Let him take steroids. Who gives a shit? What is let's go down this rabbit hole. We got a little time. Going back to baseball, right? And I don't remember the year, but the baseball lockout. All right, when we were locked out in baseball for like 94? a year and a half, it was somewhere around there. I think it was a little bit later, maybe 95, 86. Jeremy, maybe if you could, But anyway, baseball went downhill. Attendance was the worst it's ever been after that because we were all pissed. We're all pissed. Billionaires and millionaires are going to fight over their millions and billions. Meanwhile, the people that are paying for it can't watch it. 94, 95. So the ratings were down huge, right? So then we come back, and then we have the beloved story of Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa going at it. Now, for those of you who don't know, Mark McGwire played for the St. Louis Cardinals. Sammy Sosa played for the Chicago Cubs, of course, my team. And they were two in-division rivals that absolutely hated each other. The Cardinals hate the Cubs hate the Cardinals. And we got to see an onslaught of home runs for about 2 years. About 2 years we saw it. 1998, he said. It was it. And that brought the joy of the game back. Everybody loved to go. The attendance rose. The TV viewerships rose. It was an amazing time. These guys were just book.
More time shy.
I mean, we're hitting 550-yard upper decks. There's actually Big Mac Land, now McDonald's sponsored, in Busch Stadium. Sammy Sosa hitting over to the rooftops. It was just an amazing time. Of course, they were juiced up. And Barry Bonds the same way. You know what? Regardless of what happens, what you think happens with that, you still have to have the coordination to do said thing. Now, I will say that when you're on juice like this and you are at that level, it does make you feel absolutely invincible. It makes you feel like that you can do anything that you remotely even want to do. Juice them up. Let's can you imagine if we juiced up ice hockey? Put those guys on. Can you imagine that?
Cool with it. Well, okay, so here's a question I have. And listen, the only reason any of this matters is because people are worried about the integrity of records, which at the end of the day, like, who really cares about the integrity of what Babe Ruth did back in, the Great Depression? I don't. Anyway, I do think, and I've always been of the opinion, if a guy wants to take steroids, let's say like steroids were to like negatively affect you to a point of like you would guarantee death at the age of like 50, right? But it's your choice. You can take steroids. You can perform at a high level for 50 years, or you can not take steroids, and you can take the chance that you can live till you're 90. Which one are you taking?
I don't know. It depends on if I'm really good at something.
Well, I guess it also depends on children and
Yeah, there's a lot of different factors.
To see grandkids and
but the technology that we have nowadays in stem cell research and this QC connected, this regenerative healthcare that we have, we've come so far. There's ways around it. Obviously, a lot of the biggest things, hip. And it does cause a lot of problems, but I mean, at the end of the day, that's on the athlete. If the athlete wants to do it, I think what you might go into is what we're going to call a double-edged sword, is that you might have people that feel like they have to do it in order to compete. That would be one of the things, because let's just take the steroid era. Okay, so you had Barry Bonds, you had Sammy Sosa, you had Mark McGwire, all of these guys, Jose Canseco, that were getting these monster contracts based on what they were doing, which said under steroids. So now if they're the ones that are setting the market, and then you have, and this is no way to knock, I'm just saying this, Ken Griffey Jr., who obviously never did it, but still performed at a high level, he got his bags. But if I'm out there and I'm, Ian Happ or whatever, or a middle to upper echelon outfielder or something of that nature, and I can't get my bag because these guys are juicing and performing at a much higher level. Now I'm put into a situation where I feel like I have to juice. Argument. So I mean,
get that.
I guess I could see that aspect of it, but I'm all for it, man. If you want to juice it up, baby. I think that doesn't really, again, I don't think it really matters much outside of probably Major League Baseball and the NFL. I think those are probably the two sports. At NBA, I don't see what bulking and putting that on would do for you.
Well, no, in NBA, it's about recovery from injury. So Rashard Lewis got suspended. I don't know if you remember this. Rashard Lewis actually got suspended from the NBA the year after the Magic made their run to the NBA Finals. And it was because he had gotten hurt and he had taken some kind of supplements that were for recovery. They got dinged for the human growth hormone or whatever it is. Now, whatever they want to do, like LeBron flying to Germany every summer, to get treatment. I mean,
let's be honest. There's things out there
we're doing over there,
and especially when you're at his level, right? And you have billions of dollars. I'm sure that there's medical procedures out there, stem cell research that can help him live to 100 years old easily. There's things out there that we don't have access to. And when I say we, I'm talking about the plebs of the world. Us little people that just go around our daily miserable lives trying to scrape by enough money to have a nice vacation and take our kids and do whatever we need to do for a nice dinner and to get away. Whereas this is just something that they have. I remember, I saw a video of one of the sheiks, right? And he was going through looking at these cars. And he's like, well, what is this? He's like, oh, this is a 101 McLaren. He's like, how much? He's like, 5.5 million. He goes, okay, I'll take that one. What's this one? And when you have that kind of money, it's just, there's nothing else to it. So to your point, you're going over, seeing the best doctors of everything, getting access to treatments that aren't covered under insurance, because why would an insurance cover something to want you to be healthy? Let's be honest there. I'm sure there's a lot of different things that are out there that you could do to improve your health, your longevity, that we just don't have access to. And kudos to the people that do it. I mean, I guess, whatever.
It's funny you were mentioning the Sheik thing, because I was scrolling through, sometimes you get scrolling on your phone or whatever. And
that's
Andrew
what I was
Tate,
doing.
Who's a very controversial person, and some of his takes, because he can be very misogynistic at points in the things that he says, which we're not co-signing to any of those. But he did make an interesting thing when he was talking about the fact that for him, he grew up poor, and now he has money, and now the money is the celebration. He goes, when you're born into money, if you're a oligarch, or if you're, one of these Saudi Arabian princes or whatever, you don't appreciate it.
I watched the exact same video yesterday.
You know what I'm talking about?
The exact same video.
Well, that's crazy that our algorithm is synced up together.
You have to be poor in order to appreciate the money.
Yes, you have to go through the downs and the trials and the tribulations and getting stomped and going through it to appreciate when you get to the top, how good it feels. Otherwise, when you get to the top, if you have always been at the top, it doesn't matter.
Absolutely.
It doesn't affect you.
I'm just trying to figure out, how do you get to the top? And fortunately for me, I've never been super passionate about anything, so I've never really had anything that I'm all in on, but he got his. I mean, he started kind of like an OnlyFans type over there in Romania, but then he opened casinos. He was able to open a casino.
He went webcams, casinos, and then now he has the Top G training or whatever it is that you
Hustlers University.
Is that what it is?
And there's one also called the Real World. No, I didn't subscribe, and I'll tell you the reason why I didn't.
I saw it on a
subscribe.
Rogan podcast one time where they were trying to like get into it and like pay
Yeah.
for it and see what it was and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's all about connecting people, right? But there's one thing in there, and to your point, as far as a misogynistic approach is obviously, he believes that whatever the man says goes, and that's just how it is, So there's one thing on there as far as like if your fellow members, like just say that one of them happens to be in Orlando and needs a place to stay, like you have to open up your home to them.
Well, as somebody who's married, I can tell you that the man's word only goes so far in this relationship, in this household. So.
But it's just a different mindset. To your point, he does say some very misogynistic things, but he also says some things, about women that are good, as far as, treating them well, things of that nature. I don't agree with everything he says, but I do agree with a lot of what he says as far as male masculinity and, taking control and owning your own destiny. And if you want something hard enough, you're going to figure out how to make it happen, things of that nature. And you can't look away as a success story. I mean, regardless of how you view him, I mean, the guy's probably almost worth $1 billion now. I mean, it's just, and as you said, came from nothing, came from absolutely nothing. So, regardless of what you think about it, and how did you get there? I mean, but again, I would love to be able to open up a casino right here. Hey,
how long we've been talking about it for?
Hey, let's go, baby.
Gambling.
Yes. Yeah. Speaking of gambling, let's move into it. So Ivan Toney, I don't know if you saw this. He's an English footballer.
I got a brief synopsis of the story, but I didn't delve into it.
He's from Brentford. He has been diagnosed as a gambling addict, which led him to bet on his own clubs to lose matches, according to the English Football Association. The 27-year-old was hit with a suspension and a $50,000 fine earlier this month after he accepted 232 breaches of the FA's rules on betting.
Okay. How much money did he make off this?
I'm going to say more than 50,000.
I'm going to say more than 50K, right?
But here's the deal. Okay, so what happens? I'm going to give an inside scoop on the things that they won't tell you in the mainstream media. So you think, right, he won money off of this, but he didn't. Okay, the reason why he was fixing these stuff is because he was already in debt to said bookies, said people. All right. And when you're in debt to these guys and you don't have the money to pay it off, you got to figure out how you can do it. Well, as somebody that has an actual impact on a sport, you throw the game for said game, so therefore said bookies can put a large sum on the opposite way, and therefore they make their money back, and then you get the burden lifted off of your shoulders. This is just what I've learned from movies.
This is a very slippery slope.
Very
Somebody's
slippery
getting
slope.
killed. Somebody's getting killed over this.
People do die. Absolutely. It's very, very serious. It's very, very serious. This is, mafia type crap. And whoever he owed the money to is probably somebody that you don't want to walk down a dark alley with on a Saturday night.
Of course, but whoever they're placing those bets with, too, who just got robbed out of all that money because they had a guy in their back pocket, and now they know about it.
Yeah. Well, that could be, too, yeah. Jeremy said he placed 13 bets on his own team to lose in 7 different matches. Oh, although he did not play in any of those matches. So maybe that's a definite alternative event. So maybe he just is a gambling addict.
He's just like we suck. We freaking suck.
It's like Calvin Ridley, right? Putting $1,500 on the team. It wasn't even his team. Actually, did he bet on?
I hate that too.
Well, and this was the reason that sports betting wasn't going to be, didn't want to be accepted, like it is now, is for that fact. I mean, you have players that obviously have a better knowledge of what's going on the field than we do, how the matchups work better than we do, and they see easy money, but I mean, $1,500 is nothing, but to them.
Oh yeah. I was talking to Logan about it the other day, actually. And he was like, dude, like, he goes, when I'm done with football, I am going to be a sharp when it comes to everything. Cause I go, listen, it's a little bit different. It's not, and he goes, I'm telling you, I'm like, all right, whatever, you tell me, I'll listen. You're a professional athlete. I'm not. I get it. It is what it is.
Well, why don't?
Yeah, it's very. Huh?
Nothing. We'll talk about
that.
Off stream.
And I think some of these rules suck, right? Like Jameson Williams gets suspended for the first 6 games of the year for the Lions next year because he placed a bet not on football but in the team facility, where if he would have walked 100 feet outside and been in the parking lot, it would have been fine. but because he did it inside the facility, now he's suspended for 6 games. Just doesn't seem right to me.
Sorry.
Well,
Okay.
oh,
Yeah, all good.
oh.
Sorry for that.
You okay over there?
Getting applauded for their efforts.
Well, I just put on the
Training before.
the Formula One live timing. I didn't realize it was going to launch the actual drivers, the actual drivers in my ear and to the stream. So whatever you just saw was very privileged information. Please don't repeat any of that. I was trying to.
Anything.
You can't. You wouldn't be able to hear it either. It would just go straight from my other computer straight to the thing. I'm trying to bring up as we move into Monaco this weekend. We have an F1 going on in Monaco, which is the glitz and glam of the entire F1 industry outside of Miami. I was trying to bring up the time so far, but I don't think it's going to let me bring it up except for the live session. I'm going to try to bring it in here one more time and see if I can get it to mute, though, however. And then we'll kind of bring up some of the live timing and see what's going on in the F1 as we kick off the weekend in
It's
F1.
getting faster and faster, so therefore the requirement to be so specific happened, on many occasions. Charles Leclerc's teammate dumped it in there, at the end of qualifying just a few years ago.
Apparently, you cannot turn it on
Reminiscent.
without
Both of them chasing
having
signs.
the sound in my ear. So I can't even bring it up to see where we're standing on this. I do believe I saw Nico Hulkenberg with the Haas team coming in P1 at 4th position, which is great. I'm going to try to bring it up on the app on my phone here real quick.
You're a big Haas fan, right?
Not really. I'm a Red Bull guy. However, I do like to see Haas do well, just for the simple fact of it's an American team. It's an American team. So yeah, after P1, it was Carlos Sainz, Fernando Alonso, Hamilton, Perez in 4th, Leclerc in 5th, Verstappen in 6th, and rounding out the top 10 was Alonso Norris, Esteban Ocon, Lance Stroll, and Albon. Now, with that being said, you're going to say probably, why is Verstappen down in 6th? Well, this is a street course, and Verstappen usually doesn't do very well on street courses. Now, with that,
Leclerc was good on street courses.
Ferrari's just in a very dark spot right now. Let's just say that Ferrari's in a dark spot. They've underperformed all year. They don't really. I don't know. But these are the races.
Up there though, right?
What's that?
Sainz is up there.
I mean,
No?
he's been having a good year. I mean, but Ferrari just in general just haven't been in. I do believe they're the total team. I think they're in 4th place right now.
Is that Bianca's team? She's a Ferrari?
She's a Ferrari girl. She's Italian, and she thinks she looks good in red. So she's a Ferrari girl. She looks good in red. That's what I meant to say.
Thank you so much. Very well played. Well done right there.
But this Monaco course is going to be a street course. There's not a whole lot of places to pass, so qualifying is going to be very, very important. We'll see what happens. We're going to finish up P2 here, and then tomorrow we're going to get into P3 and qualifying. So make sure that you set your lineups. I think you have about 10 hours left, so make sure that you're watching that. All lineups must be set right before the start of qualifying. All right.
Last day of school today too.
Oh, thank God.
Did you see that there's some Kyle Trask highlights coming off the Bucks social media page?
You know what? I'm absolutely done with the Bucks until I get down there.
Why?
I'm just sick and tired of it. I'm sick and tired of it. You know what? I'm glad you brought that up because we did have 2 things that we were going to push back to Friday. So yes, I saw the media reports coming out from Pewter, who gets a media credit, which I'm going to be applying for the uninformed fan. We're going to try
Pewter
to get
report.
Yeah, we're going to try to get down there and get media.
Ira Kaufman.
We're going to try to get down there and get some media credentials that we can start reporting live on this. And, the very first report I saw was at the very, very first team. Now, let's keep in mind that we don't have Mike Evans. We don't have some of the bigger ones. We do have Chris Godwin down there. But we don't have the bigger ones, as these are voluntary practices. But Baker Mayfield was thrust right into first team reps right off the rip. And for me, if this is an open competition, I don't really care. If Trash doesn't have it, I'm really over it at this point. I'm done fighting for it. It is what it is. But to me, in my opinion, if if this is truly an open competition, you start with the guy that's there. You start with the guy that has somewhat of a rapport of the teammates that are on the field. And then you insert Baker in there as well. Now, the reports were coming out as there was a couple lasers from both of the guys. Both of the guys looked pretty good. But again, to me, it doesn't feel like an open competition. Basically every media report, every coach's report, it just seems like it is Baker Mayfield. And you know what? Baker Mayfield's had his shots. And that's all I'm going to say. He was the overall number 1 pick. He's been on 4 different teams now. Nobody has, decided to keep him or said that this is the guy. I don't see what changes in Tampa. It's just, I don't know. It's regurgitated shit at this point, in my opinion. I can't wait to get down there. We do have a couple exclusive mini camps that I'm going to be allowed to go to before I get our press credentials. So I would like to get down there and see it. Of course, I will be repping my trash jersey down there. And we will go from that point. But yeah, I don't know. What was the reports that you saw?
Just that Trask looked good, and this might be a true competition.
Did he look good with the 3rd team or the 4th team? I don't know. I did see something though where Chris Godwin came out and said that he has his explosiveness back, which he did.
I did see that,
which he didn't
have
have
last year.
And we're also
we could all see it.
This team is also predicted to possibly be dead last this year.
Which is insane to me.
I thought that was very interesting. In the weakest conference, I would say in football,
the weakest division probably.
Yeah, the weakest division. The fact that they're picked last, when you have a team with Mike Evans, Godwin, Rashad White, and didn't they just draft another running back?
Really good offensive line as well too that we have that we've kind of built around.
Jensen's back this year.
Jensen's back. We did a free agent signing as well too to shore up the Shaq Mason loss that we had. I really think the offensive line is going to be much more improved this year than what it was last year because it was decimated by injuries most of the year. And we also don't have a turnstile in Donovan Smith who's just going to allow anybody to run past him every single time. What's the saying? A squeaky turnstile would be better because at least the quarterback would know when he gets beat as opposed to just getting completely demolished every single play. I love what we did on defense. Kalijah Cansey, you got Yaya Diaby that we got as well too as the end. I think the defense is going to be great. Jamel Dean's coming back. We got a nice signing on a safety out of Seattle.
That's what I was going to say. The secondary is the biggest issue right now, right?
I think secondary is going to be fine. You still have Carlton Davis. You still have Jamel Dean. You have your top 2 corners. Obviously, you lose Sean Murphy-Bunting, who moves on. We do have Zion McCollum, who was there last year, who should be able to translate and progress a little bit this year as well, too, and hopefully settle into that number 3 role. Winfield's still back there. You still have great linebacking tandem in Devin White as well as Levante David. We drafted one as well, too. The roster.
Logan Ryan coming back?
He's in a transition period right now where
called free agency
32 and doesn't want to retire but is not getting a lot of phone calls. So I don't know if you saw he was on Good Morning Football all week a couple weeks ago. I know he's in Nashville doing some podcasting stuff right now as well too on the few shows.
So that would appear to me as somebody that just stays in shape and probably throughout injury throughout the year he'll probably get a call in the middle of the year.
And the way he can process tequila is impressive.
Well, in all fairness, have you seen him the next morning?
No, I haven't.
There you go. I mean, hey, in the moment, I'm the biggest boohoo guy out there, right? I am woo, whole bottle, do this, do that, and then the next morning, I wake up and I'm like slightly, and then as the day goes on, it gets worse. About 3:00 in the next day, it's just like a ton of bricks. But in the moment, bro, I can drink in the moment. Well, we'll see. Like I said, I'm excited to see what happens with the Bucs. I think that the fact that you're just taking Tom Brady out and that's it, you pretty much write off the whole team. And again, a team with Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, to me I think that's one of the best 1-2 punches in the NFL. I don't know who you would put up next to that.
You still have Russell Gage in the slot too.
Like, yeah, we just signed the tight end, right? The
new kickoff rules. Did you see this?
Did not.
There's been a lot of controversy on it. So basically, any kickoff that you do, right, it no longer has to go through the end zone to be a touchback. You can fair catch it anywhere. Let's say you fair catch it on the 4-yard line, you get the ball at the 25.
That's always been.
That was college. College. That was the college rule. They haven't had that. This is going to be the first year that they have that.
What?
Where, yeah.
They're really what's the point of even kicking off anymore?
So under the refined regulations, kick returners can now signal for a fair catch anywhere inside their own 25-yard line, resulting in a touchback that starts at the ensuing possession at the 25.
Anywhere inside the 25-yard line.
It doesn't matter. Let's say you fair catch it on the 1, you get the ball at the 25. Let's say you fair catch it on the 25, you get it at the 25.
And this is just kickoffs.
Correct.
Why do you even do them anymore at this point?
And dude, like every single professional player is like, this is stupid, because basically you're also taking away a niche, if you will. Like you have gunners, right? Like let's say Matthew Slater, for instance, right, has been one of the best gunners and special team guys in the entire NFL. Obviously, Bianca's a big Patriot fan. He's been there for a very, very long time. But you're pretty much taking away his role, because it doesn't matter anymore. Like unless you're doing onside kicks, which they're still trying to figure out some rules and terminology with that. But you're really taking away a lot of the physicality and the physicalness of those kickoffs. And I understand it's about player health and player safety, but at the same time,
at what point do we
benefit to run the ball out anymore?
At what point do we just say, hey, we're going to change the entire game for player safety?
Wear
Because you've
flags.
already done it. Exactly. Yeah. You've already done it. You can't hit anybody on the cross anymore. They already pushed the kickups up to try to get the kickoffs to go through the end zone so there would be no returns. I mean, what are we doing here? I mean...
Yeah, I mean, at what point do we have some kind of a jersey that,
you can't touch this person.
That lights up whenever, and we just go to two-hand touch, Oh, you put two hands on him, the jersey lit up, whatever, falls down right there, Where we're headed.
Yeah, I mean, what are we doing here, man?
We're headed.
And I don't know. Is this in retaliation for the billions of dollars that they've had to pay out due to their lack of concussion protocol?
There's no more Sean Taylors blowing up Brian Mormons anymore
Imagine okay, so imagine a player like Devin Hester, who is arguably the best return man of all time.
Arguably.
I know Ian will tell you it's somebody else, but he's, as we know, very delusional.
Who does Ian argue?
I don't know what that guy's name is, and I won't even say it. I don't know. Devin Hester is the greatest return of all time. But let's just say that you had that talent, right, in today's league. It would be wasted. It would be absolutely wasted. You have literally taken a position out of the football game at this point.
Yeah. And I was having this conversation with a fellow bar patron last night, Colin. He's a big Minnesota Vikings fan. We call him Colleen, but nice kid. What we were talking about, I mentioned to him, I go, I don't think it's right that they made this rule after the draft. Like,
another great point. They probably knew it going into it, though, right? Because they probably had to vote on it at the owner meeting.
I don't know. I don't know. But, I mean, I'm assuming there's people who are drafted as return specialists or, guys who run 4.3s, 4.4s who you think can catch a ball and then fly up the sideline, and now that's completely devalued that position. So, it's a great point.
Here's a very controversial thing for you. How about this? Instead of allowing the owners to just say, hey, this is what we're going to do, why don't they just put it up to the NFLPA and let the players make their own choices? Right? I mean, if a player is willing to sign off and say, hey, if we get hurt doing something like this, then we're okay with it. Let it happen.
All the sports, like, you should have let the players take HGH in the NFL for recovery and stuff. Like,
well, HGH doesn't. I mean, HGH is a little different, but type of thing.
I don't know anything about it, but I'm just saying.
HGH is more of it's a human growth hormone. It's more of to
I know what it stands for.
It's more of I was just letting the people know, letting the masses know. When you take HGH, and you can actually take it in combination with a steroid, you're basically just enhancing your body's natural abilities. And so when you're like, bodybuilders, things of that nature, when you're taking it and then you're taking steroids on top of it, you're basically doubling. And I'm not a doctor, and I could be wrong on this information. This is not from my own personal experiences. You're just basically accelerating the body at a pace that is just incredible. right? But the thing with HGH is if you also have already something in your system, something in your body, it also accelerates that as well. So, I mean, there's a lot of things to it. I just think, when we talk about stem cell research, we talk about stem cell recovery, we talk about cryotherapy, we talk about regenerative medicine, that all of these teams have access to. But then you get in the same point, with the tramadols and stuff like that they used to give out. Is this stuff really safe? We know what it is now. Okay, well, they also thought that was safe back in the day when they were giving the varsity blues injections to everybody, and numbing their pain with tramadol and other opiates and stuff of that nature. And then it also comes out, hey, by the way, this is not good. It's the longevity of the player. And again, I think that when we start getting down that road, it's just going to put pressure on people that probably don't want to do it, that they have to do it in order to be able to compete. So I guess I kind of just, nix my own argument for it in my head, which is beautiful about these types of subjects, that we get to sit here and talk about it. Yeah, easy, Justice. D'Angelo Hall.
D'Angelo Hall was really good too.
You just said Ian's GOAT is D'Angelo Hall.
Nah, it's Michael Westbrook, I believe, who returned kicks for a long time.
I'm gonna look it up right now.
Michael Westbrook, I believe, is the name. I've been trying to get a hold of Ian all morning and I can't.
Well, he's probably hungover. Let's see here. Brian Mitchell. I'm pretty sure that's who. Yeah.
Brian Mitchell.
Brian Mitchell.
It was Westbrook.
Nah, it's Brian Mitchell. I'm sure Ian will correct us at some point. But obviously, as far as mine, it's Devin Hester for obvious reasons. Anyway, anything else for us? Jeremy, any corrections? Anything that we missed? Jeffrey, anything else to add?
I don't have a lot, except I do want to say a big thank you to...
You're welcome.
Not you.
Oh.
Obviously, Memorial Day weekend, this weekend, it is the kickoff of summer, but thank you to all who served, all of you who protect our country, and all of you who make the ultimate sacrifice for us to have the freedoms to be able to do a show like this, to be able to talk with our friends, to be able to chop it up. Thank you so much. God bless you guys.
It's funny that you mentioned that, because I happened to see a post from a veteran that's a friend of mine, and breaking down this very thing. And one of the things that they ask is stop saying Happy Memorial Day. Because, as you just said, it's not anything happy. Right. So they also broke it down. Veterans Day is for the veterans who have served and actively served. Memorial Day is for the ones that gave all and lost their lives.
We remember.
Yeah. So to say Happy Memorial Day is not really apropos when you're talking about the death and, remembrance of someone. And of course, in America, half of us don't even know what the day stands for. We just look at it as a way to go out on the lake and party and kick off summer. And just remember that there's a lot of bodies in the ground that gave you that right to be able to do that kind of stuff. So again, it's crazy when you think about it and like, well, how do you say it then? And the guy just say, enjoy your weekend. Remember the memorial on it. Enjoy your weekend, not happy weekend, happy Memorial Day weekend. I'm pretty sure we just lost our stream. Oh, we're back up. Thank you, Spectrum. Yep, we are back now. But yes, I have a little bit different look on that. As my eyes have been opened and peeled back by the corruption and stuff. Like you said, when we're talking about the Vatican, right? I already went into that with a bad look because I just don't think very much of the Catholic Church. And I've watched enough of movies and histories to know what the Catholic Church has done over the past years. And I'm not saying anybody is perfect or anything of that nature, but obviously I just go into it. I think the church in itself has its issues, when it comes to that and comes to service and, grading your religion. But when I walk down there, I see... to your point, there were great leaders of this country at one point. There were great leaders. and there were very bad leaders. And I think that right now we are just in a very, very dark era in American politics.
Absolutely.
And I don't see what you see anymore. I get angry. I see corruption. I see greed. I do see a lot of the people there, celebrating this type of stuff. And, when you look back at the history of this great nation, which it was, there's a lot of dark history in there as well. Nobody's ever perfect, but we need to continue to move in the right direction. And unfortunately, I think that we're just continuing to divide ourselves, and I think that Washington D.C. epitomizes that. When I look at it, I just when I went by the Congress building, right? I'm just like, man, these guys, bro. There's just we can have a whole political segment on this because I have a lot to say about that. But yes, looking back at some of the great leaders of our time, the Abraham Lincolns, the George Washingtons, the Teddys, I don't know about Teddy being in there as well. The Andrew Jacksons. How about that? Throw a little curveball for you. But yeah,
FDR.
Isn't FDR the one that dropped the bomb?
The New Deal.
I don't know if I can. One of the most
On that note.
Yeah, on that note, enjoy the weekend. Remember the reason why we're having the weekend. It is a kickoff to the summer. School is out, and things are about to get spicy all around the world. Enjoy the summers with your families, and enjoy this weekend as well. For everybody, I hope you have a great weekend as well. Like I said, we'll see you back here on Monday. We'll be talking about the Celtics winning Game 6 and what is going to happen on Game 7. Maybe we'll get the chance to see the Stanley Cup Finals set as well. So for everybody out there,
preview the NBA Finals on Monday.
Everybody, have a great one. Keep playing.
Be great.